It's the experience of a lifetime. A Fulbright Award is with lifelong recognition. You're joining a Fulbright family and you're joining global peers because the Fulbright is run in over 160 countries in the world. So Sarah is going to continue sharing the slide. So next slide, please, Sarah. So they're just a few examples of wonderful experiences our Fulbrighters have had. They've gone all over the United States. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk now about the application process. And the first thing is to establish eligibility. So Irish awards are open to Irish citizens or EU and United Kingdom citizens who are based in Ireland for at least 5 years. You must demonstrate a strong rationale for where you want to go in the United States. I want to go to Arizona to work with this specific lecturer who has expertise that is unavailable if I go to work with anyone here in Ireland. Explain why Fulbright should support you and your work. You must comply with a 2-year home rule visa requirement. So it doesn't matter if you go to the United States, fall in love, marry an American and have American children, you still must come home to Ireland for 2 years after your Fulbright Award ends. You cannot be a dual US Ireland citizen and you cannot be living in Ireland at the time of the application. You also cannot have recent extensive experience of studying or living in the United States. Next slide, please. Preference will be given to people who don't have extensive experience living in the United States. The application timeline is quite similar every single year. So the applications open at the end of August. Around Halloween, late October, early November, the application period closes. And then we are busy in the office finding expert reviewers to review your application in November and December. In January and February, you may be invited to interview virtually for a Fulbright Award. And then around March time, we have the fantastic opportunity and great time in the office, very exciting to make offers to people to undertake a Fulbright Award. So now that the application period is open, you should really take this opportunity to review information based on our website, choose an award. Are you a student? Are you a scholar? Are you an FLTA? Is there a sponsor award for you? So we'll be looking at those different opportunities later on. You must find a course or plan a research proposal, and you must pick where you want to go in the United States. Research what it means to be a Fulbrighter. So we don't want people who are going to go to the United States and spend all their time in a lab. What are you going to do for the greater good outside of your actual body of work, study or research in the United States? Do you want to visit national parks? Do you want to hike in every state of the United States? Are you going to establish a branch in Gaeilge? What extra are you going to do? Register your interest and apply. Next slide, please. So then the Irish award category. So firstly, the Irish Student Awards, they're for postgraduate research. All Fulbright Awards are for postgraduate courses and research. So you can undertake a postgraduate degree program like a master's or a PhD or part of one. The Irish Scholar Awards then are for people who have 5 years professional experience or who already have a PhD. So for academic or professional to research or a lecture in the United States. Then we have the Tech Impact Awards, which are different because they're so short and they incorporate technology in them. So they're academic or research awards, professional research, both with ICT focus. And then the Irish FLTA Awards, Cundul, ag Múna na Gaeilge, sna stáisiúnta agus ag tógáil rangana. So that is an option if you have Irish. Then the Fulbright Schumann Awards, for academic or professional study, research, or to lecture in the United States. Next slide, please. So we're going to go in and talk more about each of the different categories. So for the Irish Scholar Awards, for scholars and professionals in all disciplines to lecture or research or both in the United States. Like I said, you must already have a PhD or 5 years relevant professional experience. So if your field is engineering, your 5 years experience must be in engineering. You must establish an affiliation with the United States. It's up to you to research where is the best for mathematics or whatever your range of spatial is in the United States and figure out where the best place for you to go there is. Please think about not just the two coasts. It's really supposed to be a meaningful engagement between people all over Ireland and people in the United States. It's for 3 to 12 months duration and the maximum stipend is €48,000. Then for the Student awards, they're for postgraduate students in all disciplines. They're for visiting research or degree seeking students. And many are either doing part of a PhD or a master's most commonly. Again, you must establish your own affiliation in the United States, talk to your lecturers or tutors about where to go, where is best to go for your field in the US. They're for a different duration. The minimum duration is 4 months and the max is 12 months. If you are going to undertake a master's in the States and it's a 2-year master's, and the Fulbright must be the first year of that 2-year course. But you can obtain your own personal funding for the second year, but the commission will only fund it 1 year of a 2-year course, and the maximum stipend for an Irish Fulbright Student Award is 45,600. Next slide, please. And then we do have sponsored awards. So pretty much everyone can apply for an all discipline awards. However, we do urge you to have a look at our sponsored awards because it is in your interest to apply for a sponsored award if your area of research fits into one. So sponsored awards can be in target areas like climate, environment, law, heritage, etc. They may have more specific criteria, and generally they do. So make sure you have a look at our sponsored award pages. They're sponsored awards specifically for students and some specifically for scholars. And you must fill out a sponsored award form as part of your Fulbright application. So be aware of this and be innovative. Next slide, please. And sometimes we have people ask, oh, which one should I apply for? It's really up to you to see which is the best fit for your research because you are the expert in your research. So then sponsored student awards, more about them. We have 3 museum fellowships in 3 of the best museums in the United States. I've been to 2 of them and I highly recommend them. So the Exploratorium, the Smithsonian, which is the largest museum complex in the world, I believe, and the Harry Ransom Center, if you're in museum studies. The Environmental Protection Agency Award, the EPA Fulbright Award, the Associated Award with Florida Polytechnic University, and we have the FLT Awards, Laramie Fui Negradam Shinley's Tushka, the Fulbright GSI Award, Fulbright Chagas, Fulbright University of Notre Dame International Human Rights Law, and University of UPenn Law Kerry Award, the Associated Award and University of Southern California Award, and naturally we have the all disciplines. So definitely have a look at these sponsored award categories. It really is in your best interest. Next slide, please. And then naturally enough, we have the sponsored awards that are for scholars and professionals. So we have the Fulbright EPA Scholar Award in Water, Climate Change and Sustainable Environment. We have the Fulbright GSI Award in GSI in Geoscience. We have the Chagas Award in Agriculture, Food, Forestry and Environment. And similarly to the Student Award, we have the Fulbright Museum Fellowship Exploratorium Award. We have the HRB Health Impact Awards for healthcare professionals. We have the NUI Scholar Award for early postdoc NUI graduates. We have the Tech Impact Awards for short-term research, so you can go for as little time as 2 weeks. We have the Fulbright Creative Ireland Professional Scholarship Award and a brand new award with the Heritage Council. So that's the first time we're offering that new partnership with the Heritage Council. Next slide, please. So most definitely have a look at the sponsored award. So for the application requirements, applications are made through the online application system. When the boards have opened, they opened on the 29th of August, and the deadline this year to submit your Irish Fulbright application is Halloween, 31st of October at 4 p.m. Irish time. So you must include your personal information and a CV, your Fulbright statement or your personal statement, your project statement, your 3 recommenders who have the same deadline to submit as you do, a copy of your passport and samples of work for if you are an artist, and a letter of affiliation for research scholars, and if possible for the courses you're applying for if you're a student. And next slide, please. And then finding a host. So who do you want to work with in the US? So definitely research who are the experts in your field, what is available in the United States is not available in Ireland, or on the flip side, is there something that we're expert in Ireland and you'd like to bring that to the United States and share that with peoples of the United States? We definitely welcome universities in wherever you want to go. So think outside the box. Just don't think of, say, Boston or New York and California. We really want to see, I don't think I've seen someone apply or receive a Fulbright to go to either the Dakotas, for example. So we do definitely welcome diversity in where you want to go. Definitely reach out to Irish and US Fulbright alum. Have a look on our website and see if there's anyone in your field who you'd like to touch base with, and use existing Fulbright links. Ask your colleagues, choose your host institution, but it should be a matter of, I want to go to Arizona because, and you should really have that strong rationale. Next slide, please. So preparing your application, your research objectives. Why is your research groundbreaking? What is your rationale for going to the US? Identify the specific areas you'd like to concentrate on. So if you're applying for a Scholar Award to go for 3 months, it should be feasible that you can achieve your objectives in those 3 months. Explain your objectives and expected result and what impact was having your discipline, research, or career. Next slide, please. So it's great that you're all on this call. Guiding your Fulbright statement. This is talking about you personally. Tell us about yourself. A lot of research grants really aren't based on the person, whereas with a Fulbright, it is about you. It's about you as a person. We're investing in you. So personal, professional ambitions, motivations, and interests. What you hope to achieve in the US and upon your return, and the role and benefit of being a Fulbrighter. And remember, you're supposed to be a cultural ambassador representing Ireland in the Fulbright Commission. So don't research your study objective, essay, or CV, because this is about you as a person. Remember, this is an indication of your written communication skills. Next slide, please. So then we in the office to review academic, professional, and people so at the review stage, we will focus, their expert reviewers in your field will be focusing on that side of things. And then at the interview, if you receive an interview, it's more about the culture, engagement, and leadership. And odds are, if you are called to interview, people who aren't experts in your field will be interviewing you. Next slide, please. And then in terms of diversity and inclusion, we welcome candidates from underrepresented communities, areas of research, home organisations, and HEIs, geographical areas, ethnicities, and abilities. So Fulbright's about people, so please share with us who you are. Next slide, please. One of my favourite things of working with the Commission is that we have had such a wide variety of awardees specialising in so many fascinating fields, so it really is diverse. We have Fulbright ambassadors in all third level institutions on the island of Ireland, so please reach out to your ambassador. They are Fulbright alumni who, like Beatrice and Aaron, who are on this call, who are volunteering their time to give back. Have a look at our YouTube and social media channels for alumni videos and testimonials. There are many Fulbright events, so keep an eye out on our website. There's support at your local third level institute if you're based in one, and follow Fulbright affiliate groups. Next slide, please. So 90% of successful awardees have attended a Fulbright roadshow or webinar, so well done for attending today at lunchtime. 50% of those who started but did not complete an application did not engage with any of the available supports. There are no downsides whatsoever in applying for a award. I've heard people who said that they were shortlisted for a Fulbright and they told a host institution and they didn't get a Fulbright in the end, but they got a fee waiver or worked out in their favor. So definitely urge you to apply. You are pushing an open door in the US. They will know what Fulbright is. It is very prestigious. They'll be very impressed that you're applying for a Fulbright. And like I said before, you really are joining a Fulbright family. Next slide, please. So the next steps, select your host institution or institutions. You can go to more than one. Reach out to your recommenders, research the Fulbright ethos, talk to a Fulbrighter, follow us across social media platforms. Queries, please send them to awards@fulbright.ie. That is FULBRIGHT. And our website is fulbright.ie. Next slide, please. Absolutely delighted that 2 fantastic alumni are now joining us on this call. So we're absolutely delighted. Firstly, Aaron Gallagher completed his award very recently, 22-23. He did a Fulbright All Disciplines Award. He's a PhD student at DCU School of Communications. His PhD investigates the relationship between sporting organisations, athletes, and the media. I'll leave you all to read that yourself, but Aaron is a very accomplished person and we're absolutely delighted that he's here to talk to us about his award. Gormagat, Aaron.
Cheers. Thanks a million, Paula. Hello, everyone. Really nice to be here. My name is Aaron Gallagher. I completed my Fulbright Award last year. I spent 6 months at the University of Maryland completing research as part of my PhD in communications and media. My PhD is basically looking at the relationship between sport organizations, athletes, and the media, and looking at how the Olympic Games is covered by journalists and broadcasters and reporters. I was just thinking there, like I was exactly in your position this time 2, 3 years ago, sitting on one of these calls thinking, should I apply for a Fulbright? This sounds absolutely amazing. Maybe not having the full confidence to go for it, but I'm so, so glad that I went through with it because overall, Fulbright is just the experience of a lifetime. It doesn't matter what your area of research is and what your discipline is. Fulbright can open up a world of opportunities, and it's just about having the confidence in yourself and to go for it. So over the next few minutes, I'm just going to talk about a little bit about my Fulbright experience, a few application tips, how to contact your host institution, and a little bit about how Fulbright had an impact on my career. So like I said there, I spent 6 months at the University of Maryland last year, attending different lectures, learning from amazing professors and lecturers in the areas of journalism, communications, and media. As part of my PhD, I was conducting interviews with journalists, with broadcasters, in order to inform and enhance my PhD. So the reason that I applied for Fulbright was I wanted my PhD to be the highest possible standard. And in order to do that, I knew I needed to go to America and interview all the best sports journalists and broadcasters that kind of work for the New York Times, the Washington Post, ESPN. And thanks to Fulbright, I got the opportunity to do exactly that. And every single week, I was going to a different NFL game, baseball games, basketball games, all over New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania. It was just absolutely unbelievable. You see a few photos there, getting to meet some of the most accomplished journalists who have ever worked in American sports media, getting to go to different events. So that was my Fulbright experience, and got to meet some amazing other PhD students, got to network with some amazing professors. So overall, it was just the experience of a lifetime. And anytime I'm chatting to people and they're maybe thinking about, should I go for Fulbright? I'm not 100% sure. Absolutely go for it. And like I said at the beginning, it doesn't matter what your field or your discipline is. Fulbright welcomes applicants from all different disciplines. I researched sport, media, and communications. That was the focus of my application. And Fulbright opened its arms and welcomed me in and gave me the opportunity to go and live my dream, spend 6 months going to all these sporting events, talk to all these broadcasters and journalists. So it was absolutely amazing. In terms of application tips, like I said earlier, I was on one of these calls 2 or 3 years ago, not really sure, hearing that this was an amazing opportunity. My overall tip would just be make yourself stand out. It's like you're going for any job in the world. You want to show that you're unique, that your research is going to be potentially groundbreaking, and that you're the right person for the job. And so have confidence in yourself. I always think if you're on this call at the moment and there's a reason that you're on this call, you want to go and do amazing research no matter what your area is. So just have confidence in yourself. Tailor your application to show why you want to go to this specific university, a specific institution. Why do you want to work with these very specific professors? How will it help your research? How is your research unique and different? So just try and make yourself stand out a little bit. I identified the University of Maryland because they have the best sports journalism institute in all of America. So I knew if I wanted to get the right interviews, network with the right people, this was the very specific university that I needed to go to. And so that's why I reached out to the University of Maryland, a really nice guy called Professor Mark Hyman. I literally just sent him an email. We'd never met before. I said, I'm thinking of going for a Fulbright. I would love to do research at your university. Could we have a Zoom call? Could I chat to you? Would you be willing to host me as a Fulbright student? And he said, absolutely. In America, they're very, very familiar with what the Fulbright program is. As Paula mentioned earlier, it's very, very prestigious, and they want to have Fulbrighters at their university. It's kind of good for their universities to have a Fulbrighter there. So don't be afraid to just send out a few emails to different professors, explain to them why you want to go there, how you can make a unique contribution. And for the most part, they're more than happy to have Fulbrighters come and work at their university. You can see a few photos there, getting to go to different baseball games in Washington, D.C. and Maryland. It was such a cool experience. The last thing I just wanted to mention is the impact that it's had on my career. I'm finishing up my PhD at the moment, and because of Fulbright, it's opened up so many networking opportunities for me. Back in March, I got the opportunity to go back to America to present some of my PhD research in Los Angeles at a sports media conference. And again, Fulbright just puts you in touch with some of the most accomplished academics, professors in your specific field, and it can open up a whole world of opportunity for you. I was in Paris there last month. The focus of my research is on the Olympics and Olympic athletes. So because of Fulbright, I got the opportunity to network with some amazing people who work in the Olympic movement. And they sorted me out with some tickets, and I got to go to the Olympics and conduct some research there, which was so cool. So overall, just have confidence in yourself. It's a life-changing opportunity. Like I said, I was on one of these calls 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just having the belief in yourself, in your research, how you can make a unique contribution, and just absolutely go for it. My own experience, probably the best 6 months of my life last year, getting to live in Washington, D.C., go to the White House, go to the Capitol, life-changing experience. And I just highly encourage everyone to absolutely go for it. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I could talk about Fulbright all day, but yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks a million, Aaron. And we're always delighted when awardees share their journeys on social media. Thanks a million, Aaron. We also are joined by Beatrice, who was a Fulbright awardee, different year to Aaron though, 21-22. So Beatrice is also a PhD student in the School of Law and Government in DCU. I'll pass it over to Beatrice to talk about her experience on her Fulbright award as well. Thank you, Beatrice.
Thanks, Paula. So it's such a pleasure to be here to give back to the Fulbright community, because it honestly changed the course of my career, but not only my career, the course of my life. I'm still in touch with so many people that I met during my time in NYU and New York in 2022. So just a little bit about my own experience. I went to NYU and I went to be specifically supervised by Professor Samuel Zakharov. He was an academic I had admired for a very long time. I was going into the third year of my PhD, and I really wanted to work with him and get his insight on democracy. So he's an expert on fragile democracies. And since I studied democratization in Central and Eastern Europe, and specifically in the Baltic states, when I reached out to him, he was very enthusiastic about me coming there. And he was very interested in also finding out more about the Baltic states, because they were countries that he also considered to be understudied. I really had very, I think, low expectations of what my time in New York was going to be like, because I went during a very tumultuous time when COVID was still a factor. So it was a bit touch and go when I was due to arrive in New York, whether I would actually get to go to classes in person. What the restrictions were going to be was all up in the air in January 2022. But once I got there, I realized that it was the best decision I had ever made in my life, and everything worked out perfectly. Everything fell into place. So when I met Samuel for the first time in person, he was just very happy to see me and very happy to work with me. And he introduced me to more people from NYU. So he introduced me to Grania de Burca, who was the head of the Jean Monnet Center for European Law at NYU. So I was also involved with and participated in seminars in the Jean Monnet Center in NYU. I was also introduced to many academics that I wasn't really expecting to be introduced to while I was in NYU, because through sheer chance and just because everything just seemed to happen or fall into place when I was in New York. People just kind of passed by New York, and I was very lucky that I had Grania and Samuel, who would introduce me to people such as Wojciech Sudursky and Dan Kellerman, who are, if you study what I study, if you're in the law world at all, you will know they're very famous academics in the field. I also had the amazing opportunity to actually audit classes in person. So thank God, like, you had to wear a mask and everything, but classes were not canceled. So again, if you're a lawyer, you will know the name Jeremy Waldron. He's a huge, very famous professor of the rule of law and jurisprudence. So I audited his class on the rule of law, a master's class. And for someone who studies the rule of law from that point of view, it was just absolutely amazing. It was like meeting Beyonce. But yeah, so I was introduced to so many people, and like it advanced my career so much. Really the expectation I had that I would just sit in an office and write my PhD and maybe possibly join a few societies and a few groups and maybe make some friends. But all I really expected was that I'll be doing a lot of work in New York on my PhD and like, you know, collaborating with my supervisor. But really it was a lot more than that. I like the 4 months were just a whirlwind of meeting new people, networking, and some people that I still keep in regular touch with, including my supervisor, of course, from NYU, who since I left NYU has still been in touch with me, has always provided me with advice and guidance on my career. We have collaborated on work. Actually, we're writing something together at the moment. So it really opened up so many opportunities beyond my wildest dreams when I went to NYU on a 4-month Fulbright scholarship. Besides that, I really want to emphasize that it's not just about what you do in the university, that you're not just stuck in a room writing. It's really, or in the lab, depends on your discipline. I really made lifelong friends there. You will have seen some of the previous photos. The first photo was my going away party. It had all been, everyone that I met during my 4 months there attended. And it was amazing that I managed to make so many friends in 4 months. Would have never expected it, but they're lifelong friends. And I actually, just yesterday, my best friend from New York, she was visiting Ireland. She was staying with me for a few days, and she just left yesterday. So yeah, it's been amazing. And I met so many people in my field, lawyers, but also people from other walks of life, other Fulbrighters, or even just people in the student cafe, started to talk to them, made friends. It's just, it's amazing the opportunities it has opened up for me, Fulbright. And I think what Aaron was saying, just having the confidence in yourself to go for it and to apply is just what you need, because you never know what can happen. I think 4 years ago when I was also attending this webinar and I was figuring out like what I need to do to apply for this amazing scholarship, I think I read that the success rate is quite low, and I was like, oh, I don't know if, you know, maybe this will be a bit of a waste of time. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know whether I'm ready. But yeah, it was the best decision I ever made. It changed not only the course of my career, but like I said, the course of my life, because I am still in touch with so many people that I met during my time in New York. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Beatrice. Greatly appreciated. So far, I think to summarize what my favorite points from what Beatrice and Aaron said was have confidence, believe in yourself, and if you get a Fulbright, you can find your own Beyonce in the United States. Thank you both so much for giving back to the Fulbright Commission and sharing your experiences in the US. So if anyone has any questions for Aaron, Sarah, or Beatrice or I, please continue to submit them in the Q&A box. So I'll just answer some of the questions that there, as people have kindly typed already. How does finding the correct sponsors actually work? I've looked into the sponsors on the Fulbright website, the US Department of State, Enterprise Ireland, Department of Foreign Affairs, etc., but I couldn't figure out where the specific forms were to apply for the sponsored award. So if you go on to fulbright.ie, click your FLTA award, click scholars, click student, and click how to apply there, then you'll get the forms and they'll be in there. You'll get an automated email, and in that you can get all the forms there. It's very, very broad, and basically any third level institute. If you've a query about a specific place in the United States you'd like to go, please reach out directly to us. But as a rule of thumb, pretty much any third level institute in the United States is fine. So it's very wide ranging, to be honest with you. How does reaching out to professors and academics differ when you're applying for a master's versus applying for a PhD? The feedback I have from students is it's quite similar a lot of the time. I think as our fantastic awardees alluded to on this call, it's good for the university that they're getting Fulbrighters. They'll be impressed that you're even applying for Fulbright. And usually it's a very, very positive experience. We generally tell awardees to say yes to everything. Send that cold email. That's generally how it works. Someone says, so you need to have a PhD or 5 years experience to apply for a scholar/professional award. Can you apply if you're expected to have completed a PhD in the coming months, but not yet completed and awarded? Yes, you can. So you need to have the PhD finished and defended before you start your Fulbright award. So yes, you're applying now, but if you're applying between right today and October 31st, you're obviously applying to go the following September generally. So it's what your status will be at that stage. So for example, you need to have completed your undergraduate degree to go on a student award because it's postgraduate, but you're expecting to have had to finish your undergraduate degree to apply for that student award at that stage. I have lived and worked in America for a year prior to a graduate visa. Am I eligible to apply for a Fulbright? Yes, you are. So we're talking about extensive experiences in that you spent 5 out of the last 6 years in the United States. Another question. Can your host be a museum or a gallery? Most definitely it can. For example, we've sponsored awards with Exploratorium, with the Smithsonian, with the Harry Ransom Center. Off the top of my head, I can think of other awardees who've gone and undertaken awards in museums, art galleries, and the like. For the Tech Impact Award, what is the definition used by Fulbright for ICT? Very, very, very broad. So if you look on our website, we've had people undertake Tech Impact Awards in Irish language and a wide variety of things. So it's quite a broad definition we'd have. So have a look at the Tech Impact Awards flyer and just have a quick look on our, because there's so many different people in different backgrounds have undertaken a Tech Impact Award. What is the academic requirement? I have a 2-2 in my undergraduate degree and 2-1 in my master's. Am I eligible to apply? Yes, you are, because you have a 2-1 in your master's. So yes, you are eligible to apply. How long is the study objective supposed to be in pages? Generally, 2 to 4 is the standard. Do I need a letter from a hosting professor before I apply? Yes, if possible. For example, if you're a student and you're going to undertake a thought award, we totally understand that the application periods may not line up perfectly for applying for a Fulbright and applying for the host institution's deadline. So we totally understand that. I am a British citizen, but I'm also an Irish citizen. Can I apply for both an Irish and UK Fulbright? Yes, you can, but not in the same year. So if you're an Irish citizen, even if you're based in Britain or you're based in New Zealand, you can apply to the Irish Fulbright Awards. You'd have to check with the British, the UK Commission's award for their policies, because each commission rules vary between commission to commission, but you cannot apply to 2 commissions in 1 year. So you need to decide, are you applying for a Fulbright Ireland Award or a Fulbright UK Award? Someone says that they're very aware that the deadline's on the 31st of October and it's now the 5th of September. Is it adequate time to identify an appropriate scholarly institution in the US? Yes, it most definitely is. Obviously, the sooner you start thinking about this, the better, but no, you still have time. Do they just need to indicate initial receptiveness to the idea? If I understand correctly, the research proposal is merely developed after application success. No, you need to have your research proposal ready for your application. So you have to identify a host institution and you need to prepare your research proposal before the deadline. For students, say if you're applying for a master's in law, a lot of the time people put down their top 5 and say if your second option offers you a scholarship on the US side as well. So say NYU was mentioned earlier by Beatrice. So say that NYU is your second choice, but they offer you no fees and you get a Fulbright award on top of that, which is totally allowed and encouraged. Of course, you're going to go for that option. Are there any recommendations on how to identify the 3 recommenders for the Irish Scholar Award, or who would be most appropriate? Should they be academic or institutional or leaders in your research field? All of those options are highly, highly appropriate. For example, international professors, or what would be the recommendation? Any tips approach from this from Aaron and Beatrice? So sorry, that was actually for Aaron or Beatrice. Aaron or Beatrice, would either of you like to jump in there? Do you have any recommendations of who you think a scholar or a student should ask to be their recommender?
Thinking back to my time, it's one thing actually in terms of the tip is to reach out to recommenders as soon as you possibly can. I remember just reaching out to different academics that I might have worked or might have taught me during my undergraduate or during my master's or anything like that. As far as I can remember, I used 3 university professors that I had worked with. I actually used a previous editor. He was one of my recommenders as well, who I'd worked with in a professional capacity as well. But yeah, I just say university professors, from my experience reaching out to them, they're more than happy to help, but try and get on top of it as soon as possible so that they can, get back to you and say that they're happy to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the imperative thing is to, that's probably one of the first things you should do once you decide that you want to do, apply for Fulbright. Ask your recommenders whether they would be willing to recommend, or like issue a recommendation for you. I think I can't remember exactly who I asked now, but I'm pretty sure I asked 3 academics, and across I did my master's and my undergrad in different universities, so it's kind of had like a spread of recommenders from both universities, and I made sure to include someone who knows me in a more professional capacity rather than just being a student in someone's class. So I chose someone who was who taught me in my undergrad, but since then I had helped them with various other things like a mentorship program, help them set up the National Moot Court competition. So like something that would show Fulbright that you do things beyond just studying. I think that would be important if you can find someone like that.
Thank you both. That's wonderful. Another question, although I'm an Irish citizen, I am based in London and my proposal rests around the London Irish community. Would this be appropriate? Yes, that would be fine. But you're supposed to really show that you want to give back to Ireland when you come back from your Fulbright Award. And we do have Maurice Casey, some of you, a very prominent historian, undertook a Fulbright Award researching Irish history, but he went to archives in California, because that's where the archives are based, so that would be fine. Do you have to have an academic recommender applying for an Irish Student Award for a master's? It would be recommended, that'd be great. If the offers are made in March, when does the exchange happen? Generally speaking, if you're applying for award now, most people would start their awards the following September. So you might be going, so a lot of people go for an academic year, you might be going for just 3 months, but generally the earliest is September, the following September. Can you apply for a master's if you've already done one? Yes, you can. You just need to show a strong rationale for wanting to do another. For a thought master's, do we need to submit a research proposal to, no, not if it's a thought master's. I am not an Irish citizen is enough to have done my PhD in Ireland to apply. It's not really about where you've done your degrees or your PhDs. It's simply if you're not an Irish citizen, that's fine. But if you're a UK or an EU citizen who's based here for 5+ years, you can apply. However, if you've done a PhD in Ireland, I presume you've been here for over 5 years. So if you are a UK or an EU, you are eligible. On the application form, it says if you have letters of admission, letters of affiliation, or other correspondence from school, especially a preferred program, please ensure that you have included in your application. What does this mean by other correspondence from school? Yes, emails. If you've emails from a host, if you've emails from different academics in that institution, that would be fine. How does it work when it comes to transcripts? Given I will not have my final year transcripts before the Fulbright deadline in October, that is fine. Send them on when you can. Is it possible to apply for 2 host institutions for the professional award, 3 months in both places? Yes, you can. I can think back of people who have done split their Fulbright between different institutions. So long as you have a strong rationale to do so, that is absolutely fine. Can Irish citizens who live elsewhere in Europe apply, or is it just for Irish citizens on the island of Ireland? If you're an Irish citizen, so long as you're not based in the US, you're absolutely eligible to apply. I'm interested in working within a charity as part of my research proposal. Should I cold contact the charity? Thank you for the great session. Yeah, please just reach out, send that cold email. If you know a contact, that's great already, but just send those cold emails. The cost of living is quite different based on the target location you're planning to go. Is there a range of awards covering that, rent, etc.? Exactly. So say that two people are going both for the same amount of time to the United States, but one person is going to Kansas and the other is going to New York. The person who's going to New York will get a higher MMR rate, monthly maintenance rate, because we're just acknowledging that the cost of living is higher in certain areas than it is in others. So that is taken into consideration in the cost of flights. So we do work out stipends based on duration and location. Is it okay to split your award between two institutions for the student award? Yes, it is indeed. I'm applying to more than one university in the US for a student award. Should we discuss this in our Fulbright application or focus on our top choice university? It really depends on the circumstances. So if you're applying for 5 different law schools, perhaps focus on your top one. Is award contingent upon acceptance to a specific university? So if you're applying to several different master's programs, it isn't. However, if we write to you in March and say you've been awarded X to go to a certain institution and then you change your mind, you need to contact us and that needs to get approval from the awards committee. If you're an academic, how do universities typically support Fulbright awards? For example, would I be expected to take a career break? Would the US visit need to be during a sabbatical? I'm conscious of the usual teaching duties in Ireland and I wonder how these are usually covered by university. I ask, as to my knowledge, Fulbright awards have been very limited where I'm based in Northern Ireland. Thank you. It really depends from university to university. I work with students, but as a general, universities are quite receptive to the idea. I don't know if Beatrice and Aaron have more experience of that, your home institution providing support.
No. I went as a student, so I have no idea. I haven't encountered anyone else going as a scholar.
Thanks, William. Beatrice. I am an undergraduate in my final year and I'm planning to apply for a master's in statistics in the US. Does a Fulbright scholarship often get awarded to applicants who are pursuing a master's degree immediately after completing their undergraduate studies, or is there a preference for candidates with more professional research experience? No, Paul, a lot of the time people do get master's scholarships to undertake a master's degree immediately after their undergraduate degree. That is perfectly fine. You mentioned the importance of providing a strong rationale for where you're applying. Oh, sorry, they're all jumping all over the place. Sorry. Sorry, apologies. There's so many coming in. Sorry, I skipped that. Sorry, Aaron wants to pop in. Sorry, Aaron.
Sorry, Paula, could I just add one thing? I meant to mention it earlier. Just in terms of the application, one thing that I was given the tip of when I was applying is to think of the dissemination of your research and kind of what you plan to do when you get back home in terms of, publishing your research, in terms of applying for conferences, in terms of working with other academics. Basically, what do you want to get out of your Fulbright and how will you take your experience, come back home, and how will you disseminate that knowledge out into the world? So if you can incorporate a little bit of that into your application to show them that, obviously you want this incredible opportunity, you want to go to the States to study, to conduct research, but you want to show Fulbright as well, how that research is going to make an impact in the world. So after my Fulbright, I published some of my research in academic journals. I got the opportunity to present at different conferences and publish works for RTE and stuff like that. So in your application, really stress not only what you're going to do on your Fulbright, but what you're going to do afterwards, even in terms of if you take on a degree or do a master's, how do you want Fulbright to positively affect your career and what you want to do afterwards, if that kind of makes sense.
Thanks, million, Aaron. And can former Fulbright alum apply for master's program? Yeah, you can actually receive more than one Fulbright award. So you can do a Fulbright award and then years later come back and apply for a different Fulbright alumna awards, but preference is given to people who haven't already previously undertaken a Fulbright award. How technical should I be in my study research objective statement? Should I focus on detail, field-specific language, or is it better to keep an explanation more accessible for a broader audience? A mixture of both, in all honesty, Paul, because at the review stage, there'll be experts in your field who are not based in your host institution, who don't know you, will be marking you initially at the research at that level at the review stage. But then when it comes to interviews, I'm sure Beatrice and Aaron came across, there may not be anyone who has a background in your field interviewing you. So it's more general knowledge for that. Aaron and Beatrice, either of you haven't been through the process. You were obviously reviewed, but then when you were interviewed, the people in front of you obviously probably weren't subject experts. How was that for you in comparison to other grants, maybe?
I think yeah, so the experience for the interview, I can't remember it like very clearly now, but I remember it was a very positive experience, and I think I prepared for very technical questions. I thought it was almost going to be like examined as if it was my Viva, but it was more like the interview was more of a chat, to be honest. Like, what are you going to do there beyond you know, studying? What are plans you have? Do you want to visit any other states? It was like very, very much a conversation, and it wasn't technical at all.
Yeah, I definitely had a similar experience. I remember during my interview, actually, like one of the first questions was like, why do you want to do a Fulbright? What do you plan on doing when you're there? And I remember going into this big long spiel about, you know, I want to work with the best professors, and I want to publish in these academic journals and all that sort of thing. And they're like, that all sounds great, but what else do you want to do? You know, it's a cultural exchange. How do you want to immerse yourself in the community? And what parts of the United States do you want to travel to and see? So the academics is obviously really, really important. It's a core part of the Fulbright program, but you also want to show them how you want to, you know, immerse yourself in the American culture, how you can make a contribution. As was mentioned earlier, you don't want to be just locked in the lab or writing reports all day. And it really, really is encouraging you to go out into the world, experience American culture, immerse yourself in it, and also show your Irish culture as well. They want to learn about you, you want to learn about them. Fulbright is a cultural exchange. So I just remember in terms of the interview, it's not overly technical, as Beatrice kind of said, because they mightn't necessarily be an expert in your field. So it's just to stress why you're passionate about your field and how your research or what you want to study will make an impact as well. But it's not overly technical from my experience.
Thank you both. That's great. For people who've actually been through the process. And someone else says, to be fully transparent, I am keen to pursue an academic career in the US. I initially perhaps wrongly viewed Fulbright to serve in working towards this goal. However, you mentioned the Fulbright scholars are strictly required to return to Ireland from period of time and a number of years. Did I hear that correctly? Yes, you heard that correctly. So if you want to pack up, move, and live forever in the United States, Fulbright isn't for you, because you go to the Fulbright, you complete your award. The point is, it's kind of for the greater good that you come back to Ireland and to Europe and you kind of share what you've learned in the United States with people in Ireland. So I'm supposed to be building bridges kind of between people in the US and people in Ireland. So if you want to go to the States and stay there forever, you can't. You have to come back for 2 years. So if you want to go to the States and stay there forever, this isn't the right place for you. You mentioned the importance of providing a strong rationale for where you are applying, but the application for student all discipline awards advises not to mention specific US universities or courses. Should I balance explain my study plan without referencing specific institutions? Unfortunately, the application is a generic application. So it is used by all countries that run the Fulbright program. So Fulbright Ireland, France, Japan, Nigeria, everywhere uses the same form. If I could, I'd update it and make it specifically for Ireland. If you're applying specifically for an Irish award to the US, we do want you to list what host institution and where you want to go in the US. So that is where the Irish guidelines should differ from the general application guidelines. And someone saying, I did an internship in the US in the past. Should I not emphasize this in my application, given you said preference be given to people who do not have extensive experience living in the US? If you've done an internship or something like the Washington Ireland program in the past, that is completely fine. You are 100% eligible. It's more so that you haven't lived in the States. You haven't spent, say, 5 out of the past 6 years in the United States. So haven't gone on holiday or been there for a couple of months, that is completely fine. You just cannot be living there at the time of application. People are asking about educational and different educational studies, and you can undertake a Fulbright award. It's very, very broad. You can pretty much undertake a Fulbright award in most places. If you have a very specific institution or school you'd like to undertake a Fulbright award in, please email awards@fulbright.ie. We've pretty much answered all the questions right now. So if you have one final question, please get typing. On behalf of myself and Sarah, we would just like to thank you all for attending. A huge thank you to Aoife Drynan, our communications officer who organised the entire webinar series. Thank you all for coming, and most importantly, thank you to Beatrice and Aaron. We're absolutely delighted you were both here to share the good message and tell people to have confidence and whatnot. I am literally just waiting to see if anyone else will type one final Q&A, because we have 5 minutes. Beatrice or Aaron, any last minute words of wisdom from either of you?
Yeah, I think I just thought of this, but like when you're saying it's an exchange, it's important to emphasize in your application that not only like what do you want to get out of the exchange, but what you're providing your host institution. Like, so will you be involved in any seminars? Are you going to join any societies? How are you going to give back to that institution? And then when you come back, how are you going to bring the knowledge and incorporate into your either PhD or your or wherever you are based in Ireland? So are you going to tell people about your Fulbright experience? Are you going to forge some sort of interinstitutional dialogue between your host institution and your home institution? I think that's important to think about and maybe get across in your application.
Yeah, I just echo everything that's been said before and what Beatrice mentioned there. It's an absolutely life-changing opportunity. Fulbright, I feel genuinely just so lucky to have gotten the opportunity. And because again, like I said earlier, I was sitting on one of these Zoom calls debating whether or not to go for it. And I'm just so glad that I did, because no matter what your area of expertise, Fulbright can open up incredible opportunities, give you the opportunity to go to America and visit amazing cities, meet experts in your field. It's just so cool, life-changing opportunity, and just have belief in yourself. Again, I feel like if anybody has signed up for a webinar like this, there's a small part of them that thinks, maybe I could, but just absolutely go for it, have belief in yourself, and because it will change your life.
That's fantastic. Thank you both. And someone asked, should I focus on bringing my not Irish culture, or should I be focusing on the Irish United States in exchange? And no, if you are, we've had people of from born in other countries who live here now who have Irish passports. No, whatever your culture is, definitely bring that, because we're a multicultural society in Ireland. So regardless of what your ethnic heritage is or where your parents are from or your grandparents, we include that. We most definitely want to see that included. I've completed a semester in a US college. Would it be good to undertake a Fulbright award in a different third level institution? Yes, I think that'd be better than to go back, because you're supposed to be undertaking a new exchange, in all honesty. Is there limited to the number of years post-grad that you're eligible to apply for a Fulbright student award? No, there's no age limit, so your age does not matter. Yeah, most definitely. It's not linked with age. So if you're undertaking a master's, you're going to be going as a Fulbright student. So the application deadline is easy to remember this year. It's the 31st of October at 4 p.m. Irish time for the Fulbright 25-26 awards. Like I said, huge thank you to Beatrice and Aaron, and to my colleagues Sarah and Aoife. So Gurmila Malgrave or Fod for being with us, and we look forward to seeing your applications. Slán